Hello, my name is Asautul, and today I am here with a new tutorial for App Inventor. Yes, it's been a long time since I made the last tutorial. And for this tutorial, we're going to make another simple game, okay? This is a Space Invaders. I write easy because I hope that it can be easy. Well, let's start with the tutorial, okay? So basically, I created here the sprites in Inkscape. So the bad guy, the player, and the bullet. Okay, so we are going to use the bullet. Probably we can have two bullets. Probably one for the player and one for the evil guy. I don't know. Maybe. Okay, and then we can add some random color over there. Well, like that. Okay, well, we have another bullet. Okay, well, then we are going to export this image. So I'm going to export this image. That's it. So this is going to be a very long tutorial, guys, so be careful. Bullet 2. Okay, well, so I have a background also for the image for the game of a player. I have the sprite for this guy, and that's it. This is a very simple thing that we are going to make. Okay, so well, then we go to App Inventor. We create a new project. I created my new project. Also, don't forget that if you want these projects, you can go to my Patreon page. Okay, also I will activate sometime here the memberships in this channel, but I haven't done that. Okay, but when I do it, okay, you can get the project files. Well, let's start. So here we have the screen key. Okay, well, the screen. So now we go here to animation. Also, we can add here a canvas because this is the place we are going to add the game. So, and the sprite. So we need a canvas here in drawing and animation. Then in the canvas, okay, we are going to check the properties. So we have this, okay. Probably we are going to add the background image. We can add upload file, then we choose, and then we look for the sprites that we made. In my case, I have them here. So I'm going to add here the BG, and that's it. So I have the BG over here. Don't worry for the size right now. Okay. Also, I have here, this is like an emulator. You can see what we have here in the screen. So hide, let's see that fill parent, probably, yeah, fill parent. Use all the screen. Fill parent, fill parent. Also, let me move this here because you are not watching what I have here, but well, anyway. So then we go to screen. Let's check if we can move some options. Center everything, center. So we have the name of the app, background color. It's not important right now. Where version, responsive. I guess it's okay with responsive. Screen orientation. Well, I guess it will be portrait. Scrollable, no scrollable. Show status bar. I guess no, it's not necessary to have the status bar. Okay, title screen 1. Let's call this Space Invaders. Oh, I'm going to go step by step, guys. Okay, so be careful with that. Let me move this thing just to have this thing in the background. Yeah, I guess that's better. Sorry if you cannot see very well. Well, anyway. So we have here the options. Let me move it over here if we need, just to have here the thing to see the changes and everything. Okay, well, so I guess that's okay. So we have the title, we have title visible, well, not visible in this case. So if you check, we disappear this because we're gonna like have like full screen. Now we go to canvas, it's fill parent. Okay, and now we need to upload our characters. First the bad guy, and then we go for player. You know, I haven't done many things in App Inventor, so I don't know if this is gonna work, but well, let's hope that, yeah. So we have the green bullet and probably the other bullet that it's the red one. So we have our images. So now we need to add sprites for these things. Okay, sprites is like actors. Okay, So let's add, for example, the first sprite, and then we are going to rename it, and let's call it player. Let's use player sprite, sp, or sprite if you want. Let's keep it organized, okay? Because if not, then it will be really difficult. Player sprite. So, and then we go for properties. So don't worry for the size, then we're going to set it. Okay, so this is the player. That's it. Okay. Now we're going to add another image sprite, and this is going to be renamed as bad guy. Okay, bad guy sprite. So this is the evil guy, the spaceship. And then we are going to add another sprite. Oh, sorry, I didn't add the image. Well, you just go here, properties, and you just select picture, and then we go for bad guy. Now it's time to add we have the bullet. Let's use just one bullet right now. Bullet sprite. So we have bullet sprite, and bullet sprite, it also needs an image. Let's use the first one, and that's it. So now what we have here in our project is this thing. Okay, so this is what we have. Okay, so this is companion, guys. I'm using companion, but that I'm just like sending it on my PC for you in order to see the things that are happening in the screen right now in my device. Anyway, so well, we have this, and I guess we are going to, we can change here some options and things. But if you see, we have fill parent or pixels, and we don't want to use pixels. We want to use something like depending on the size of the device, probably, or the percentage. Okay, so that is something that I like to do. So let's go here. Okay, and let's start working, I guess, with some of the code. Okay, so let's go to blocks. So, and then we have the screen, we have the player sprite. So the first thing that we need to create is a procedure. A procedure is a set of instructions. Okay, and let's call this start game. I don't know. Let's call it prepare game, no? So this is like the initial or initializing game, or initialize game, or initialize game. So this is a procedure. So what are the things that we want to do when we initialize the game? Well, we can add more procedures. For example, when we initialize the games, I want to set the position, and size. Set size. Let's keep it organized for you. I'm going to add another procedure. This is the main procedure, and it's going to run these procedures. Okay, set size, set position, o sea, initial position. Okay, so set ini position, set ini size, and probably another one, set extra things now. Set ini states, no? Something that it's like that. And everything is going to run here in the initial game. Okay, so well, the first thing. So let's start with the size of the sprites. So the first thing that we are going to set the size of all of these sprites. Okay, so the first thing, we're going to take first the player, and then we are going to look through his properties. So we have the width. Okay, now the images that I am using, okay, if you check, these are square. They are square. So 256 times 256. So that's a good idea. Okay, so keep in mind that. So the first thing that we're going to do is set the width. So the width, we are going to use the width based on the size of the screen. Okay, on the width of the screen or on the canvas, but I'm going to use the width. So, well, we are going to use here something like math. Okay, just to use the percentage. And to do that, we are going to set screen width based on the screen width. I want to occupy, for example, the sprite, like the 2%, the 3%, 5% of the screen. Okay, so we are going to add a number here. So we are going to modify times 0.7 0.5, it's equals, okay, if we multiply this, is the 5% of the screen. If we want the 50%, it will be like times 0.5. Sorry, 0.5 is the 50%. And 1 is the 100%, so it occupies the 100. So in this case, I want my ship to occupy only the 5% of the width. Okay, so we're going to set it here. And now, because this is a square, okay, this is sprite, so I just need to use this value that has been calculated, okay, and copy to the height of the sprite. So we set player sprite height, player sprite height, where is the h? Sorry, okay, it's here. And we are going to copy that value, guys. So we go to player sprite because it has been calculated, and we're going to make it square with this thing. Okay, so we have the first thing. Okay, so that is the player sprite. Okay, it's going to use the 5%. Now for the other guy, we can duplicate these two. Duplicate. This is the good thing about App Inventor. Okay, and then we go, instead of player sprite, we want the bad guy, and we are going to use, oh, be careful with this one. I am making it like this. The order is very important because in this case it's calculated the width, so then we use the width here. So here, then the bad guy first, we calculate this 5%. Yeah, I guess the same size, so probably a little bit smaller or bigger. We're going to see that later. Then the height, it's set to the player sprite, no, to the bad guy sprite. Okay, bad guy sprite, this is the only change. Pay attention to this. I will share the blocks, okay, guys, for you. So don't worry. Well, we have the set initial size. Okay, we have set this thing. Okay, so and then we go to procedures and size. First the size, and it's going to run in the initialize game. Now we need to create the position. Okay, so what about the position? Well, for this, we are going to set the initial position in the middle of the screen. So we are going to go here for the player sprite. And then we are going to go for the X position. We need its X position. And also we need its Y position. Okay, well, X and Y. If you go here, X and Y, X is moving here in this thing, and Y is here. Okay, so if you get to the highest part in the screen, it is like a 0. So, and in this case, for example, if we have 720, this is the 720, for example, from here to here, from 0 to 700. This is the position. Okay, so now in Y, we have 0 here, and for example, here we have 1280. So this is the maximum size. It is a 0 absolute. Okay, so we need to center everything here. Okay, so remember this, X and Y. Okay, I don't know why here. Okay, but that's the idea. Okay, so now let's return to App Inventor and let's place these things. Okay, so for example, we want to place the player sprite. Okay, so in the X, so we are going to use the screen, or the canvas. In this case, I guess the canvas, it will be better. So let's set in the middle of the canvas. So we're going to go here using the width. Okay, so we're going to place X, okay, the position in X, okay, based in the half of the canvas. Okay, so we're going to use here this one here. So we want to divide the canvas in two, and we are going to place there the sprite. Okay, so it's almost in the center. I will show you. We can fix that, but let's duplicate these blocks and then just drag them there. And then, so I don't want to, well, in this case, I don't want to have my shape in the middle of the Y axis. I don't want it to have it here. I want to have it at the bottom. Okay, so I'm going to move my ship to the bottom. Okay, so that is the highest place, the highest part in the y-axis. So in this case, I guess I'm not going to use this one, but I'm going to use here probably the we can use the percentage also. So probably I'm going to use here percentage, and I'm going to use the canvas, but the canvas height, and I'm going to multiply this, okay, for example, times I don't know, 90% times 9, 0.9, and that's it. This is the 90%, so that it's almost at the bottom of the screen. Well, I hope so. Okay, now this procedure, okay, well, also if you want to check your procedures, okay, for example here, let me move this thing here, and I run it here, and I say do it, check, this is my screen. Oh, they are very small. Okay, well, but this is very simple. We can change these values to, for example, now I wanted to occupy like, I don't know, the 10%. So probably 0.1, I guess this is the 10%, 0.1, 10%, and then we just run this procedure. Yeah, they look better. Well, I guess. And the cell phone, they don't look that bad. Probably 20%, 0.2, 0.2, 20% of the screen. And then we just run it. I guess that looks much better. Also the sprite for the bullet. I guess the bullet, we can do the same, but well, in a moment we are going to do the bullet because we are here placing. Now we go to procedure, and then we go for set any position. Let's see the position. What is happening with the position right now? So the player is here at the bottom. If I move it to 85.85, and then I run the procedure to see what it's doing, yes, it's moving. If I move it to less than 85 or something, it's going to go upwards. Okay, so well, that guess that's okay. Not very well centered because it's moving a little bit here, but we can fix that, okay, in the width axis. Okay, so we can just subtract. In this case, we are going to place it exactly in the middle by doing this thing, guys. So this position minus the player sprite, the player sprite width divided by 2. Then we go here, and then we just set the any position, do it, and it's now in the center. Okay, it's dividing this in the half and then move it over there. Okay, so well, that's pretty simple for this. Okay, also for the bad guy, we're going to duplicate. We are going to change to bad guy, then we're going to duplicate this one, and it's going to be bad guy sprite. So now the bad guy, it will appear more here. Okay, so if it's going to the 10%, probably 10%, so 0.1, and then we just call set position, do it. So 10 position, okay, set. It's not player sprite, it's bad guy, but it's the same because they are the same size, but just in case. Now for the bullet, first we are going to set its initial position. Okay, so for the bullet, so we can duplicate bad guy, duplicate, and then we go for bullet, bullet sprite, and then we check if the size it's okay, do it. This is not a square, okay, so in this case this is a rectangle. So in this case we cannot use this value here in the width. Okay, so because it's a rectangle, but we can, because it's a rectangle, we can divide this by 2. And let's see what it's going to happen, and then we do it. Now we are going to divide the height by 2. Let's see if this does the magic. No. Okay, so the screen, okay, bullet sprite width. The bullet sprite width is the problem. So now this is not divided, this is times, because this is a higher, it's a higher value. Sorry, my mistake. Well, this is what when you are like making something on at the same time. Well, anyway, that's it. Okay, well, and then we just change the size, for example, to 0.1. Okay, looks better. Okay, 0.1, 0.05. Do it. That's okay. But this is not bad guy sprite. It has to be bullet sprite. So that's why it's not doing it. Sorry. Okay. And now it's using the bullet sprite. The high to bullet sprite. In this case is the high, guys. Sorry, the width. Sorry for these little mistakes. But well, we have over there the bullet, and I guess it looks pretty nice. So don't worry for the initial position of the bullet, because they are going to be like disappearing. And also we need another bullet, because we need the one that it's shooting the good guy, and the other one that is the bad guy. Okay, so we can add a new sprite, and we're going to rename this to bullet player, or other one, sprite. And for this one, we are going to use also the image picture, and let's use bullet 2, and then we have bullet 2. Okay, so that's it. Okay, now we go to the blocks, and then we are going to duplicate these ones, duplicate, and duplicate this one, because they have the same size. So now we're going to change to bullet player sprite, to bullet player sprite, and then we just check the procedures, do it. Obviously in this case they are not doing the procedure right now because we haven't loaded the procedures, but I'm just showing you. Anyway, so well, we have that. Okay, so this is the initial thing. Now we go to screen, and then we initialize the screen. We want to load these procedures, that is the initialize game. So we go here and initialize game, and every time we refresh the screen it will load the these values. Okay, so well, now I guess that's okay. Now what it's needed, now we are going to create another procedure, and let's call it start game. So well, let's start game, and well, we are going to start like moving everything. I am thinking that probably we need a button to add a start. Okay, so we can go here and we can create just a very simple button here, and let's call it start game. Start. Something simple. Here, here, here. Let's make it just like this. Nothing fancy. That's it. So we go here and then we export this thing. Okay, so we export to app inventor things. Let's say start button, and then we just export, and then we go here, and then we go to designer to export the file, to import the file. I go here and then I select start, and that's it. Okay, we have the start, and then we are going to add it as a sprite, and let's call it start button, and then we are going to add the image start. Okay, then obviously we need to set the size and everything for this button, so let me move here for you to see. So again, in these blocks, first let's set the size. Okay, we use the same procedures, guys. We duplicate this, sorry, we duplicate this, any of them. So well, in this case not these ones, sorry, I'm going to use the first ones. So duplicate the player sprite and duplicate the other one. Well, in this case, it will be button. It will be button. And now this is, again, is a rectangle. Okay, so the rectangle is wider in the width. Okay, so well, in this case, let's say that the start button, it will, the width, it will be like the 2%. No, I wanted to occupy more, like probably the 40% of the screen, the width of the screen, and probably the height. Well, it is a high, the height, it will be divided by 2, right? I guess in this case, yes. I hope so. So the width divided by, I don't know if this is the right proportion, but we can fix that. Okay, but well, anyway, so we are going to do it. Okay, more or less. Okay, I guess. So we need to divide it by 1.7. Do it. 1.5. Do it. I guess that's okay. Now we need to place it, obviously. Bad guy sprite. Duplicate bad guy sprite. Duplicate bad guy sprite. And then we're going to change this to player start button. Start button. And then start button. Let's see what it's doing if we just duplicate. Okay, now we want this in the middle of the screen. So to put it in the middle of the screen, we are going to put it like 0.40. Let's put it 55%. Then we go here, set initial. Okay, probably 50. We run the procedure. Not 50. I mean 0.5. Be careful with this, guys. Do it. Okay, that's it. This is the button that it's going to start everything. Okay, so I mean the ships are going to start moving and everything. Okay, so well, to start the game, what is the first thing that is going to happen when we start the game? Well, we want to have control over the player. Okay, and the bad guy is going to be moving from here to here probably. No, well, let's start. Let's see that this guy, let's start with the player, right? So the player sprite, and we are going to start like moving its position every time we touch the screen, for example. Okay, so let's say that we go, let me go here to player sprite. We want to modify its position, its X position. Okay, and we're going to modify this. We can modify this position using a clock. So we go to sensors and we are going to add a clock. So the clock is going to be disabled and we're going to put like 0.45. I mean 45 in time interval, and you disable everything. Okay, so we can call this player clock, and that's it. So we have the player clock that is going to be enabled when we start the game. Okay, so well, we have also this start button. What's going to happen when we touch the button? Okay, so when we touch the button, the start button, obviously it's going to disappear. Okay, so we're going to make it invisible. We set it here. We set it to false. Okay, and it's going to disappear this button. Okay, now when it's disappearing this button, it's going to activate the clock. No, the clock, no. So it's going to, let me check. So if we activate the clock, it's not going to happen. So first we disappear this, and now we are going to create here a variable. We are going to call it game running, and we are going to set it at the beginning to false, and then we are going to set this to true. This is going to check if the game is running or not. Okay, so after we touch, the game is officially running. Okay, now then we are going to check the player clock. Okay, and then we are going to enable the player clock. No, we're not going to enable the player clock. Let me check. We're going to touch the screen, okay, to move the player. So to do that, we are going to touch, okay, touch down. We're going to use the touch down. Okay, okay, very good. I know what we are going to do. When we use touch down, we press the button. It's going to check if the game is on. Okay, if the game is on, it will move. Okay, so for that we need a condition. If, and then we're going to use something from the variable. We're going to check if the variable it's equals. So for example here, if game is running equals to true, if the game is running, we are going to check, okay, and we're going to move the player. Okay, we're going to set the player sprite to a different position. So, but also we are going to check where we are playing. Okay, for example, if we are checking the X position, if X if X position in X axis in the X axis is less than the 50% of the screen. Remember, for 50% and these things, we can use these values. In this case is width is X, we are going to use the width. If position where we touch is less than the 50% of the canvas, for example here, it's going to move where? Well, the player is going to move here. Well, first it's going to activate the clock. Yeah, it's going to activate the clock. Player enabled to true. Okay, and then after we move the player, okay, well, activate the clock, what it's going to happen? Well, here, and we are going to create a variable also. Let's call it moving factor, and let's call it to -1 or 1. Okay, in this case we're going to set it initial to -1. Okay, this is just to use it. Okay, so we can set it to 0 or whatever. Okay, and this one, oh sorry, Control C, Control V, Control V. So it's going to move it. It's going to create this factor, okay, the globing moving factor. And now the player sprite, it's going to move its current position in X plus the moving factor. Now, else, I mean, if it's not like the less than the 50%, it's going to duplicate this, it's going to activate the clock, and it's going to duplicate this, and we're going to set it to 1. I don't know if it's gonna work, but well, anyway. So touch down, this is when we touch down the canvas. Okay, now if we touch up, I mean we remove the finger, so we are going to disable the clock. We set it to false, and well, that's the thing. I don't know if this is gonna work. Okay, let's see now what it's going to happen. Initialize game is set any position, the start button, it's going to give us this thing. It's going to initialize this. It's going to remove this. So we can refresh the screen, but well, let's see what's going to happen. Let's refresh the screen, guys. So then we click on start. Okay, I'm going to click start on my phone. And now let me check the position. Oh yes, it's moving. And now I'm going to touch this part. Obviously it's moving very slow because it's just -1 or +1. So what if we increase the moving factor? So, well, that's good. When we have a variable, we just change the moving factor. For example, -5 and the other is 5. Now we check. Yes, it's moving better. So I click here. I click here. It's detecting in which size I am moving this thing. I guess that's okay. Okay. Well, I guess that's okay. I don't know if we have time to make it for the spaceship. Well, the bad guy. The guy is going to move from left to right, left to right, left to right.